everybody, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Redefining Yourself, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and to all the new subscribers, I thank you so much for joining me on this channel and finding something valuable that I have to say in your process of healing or your awareness or learning about narcissism or what has happened to you in a narcissistic relationship, or even identifying traits of narcissism. Not everybody is a narcissist. Some people do have narcissistic traits. And so thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Hit the bell so you know whenever I upload. I upload new videos Tuesday through Friday, and then on Sundays I come on live between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is on the West Coast, which is the California side. And so I won't be able to stay on too long today, and I always say that, then I get excited about what I'm talking about, and I end up staying on for 20-30 minutes. But today I won't be able to stay on too long, but I did wanted to come in and just talk to you guys about narcissists and court. And so for a lot of you, you've experienced narcissists, whether ex-husbands, ex-wives, or soon-to-be ex-husbands, ex-wives, and child custody hearing cases, child support, alimony, spousal support, whatever. And so a lot of you, been into the court system, made some mistakes, didn't know what has happened. Or for some of you that are getting ready to go in there, a lot of you can give them advice on what to do and what not to do. And so do know that because of the fact you're dealing with a narcissist that wants power and control at any way necessary, any means necessary. And remember, you're dealing with an individual that laws do not apply to them, rules do not apply to them. And so even in cases, court cases where there are rulings that have been handed down, narcissists will find loopholes, or narcissists will do what they want to do, in the court cases and interpret laws the way that they want to interpret the laws. And so for those of you, be prepared that when you and a narcissist, those of you that have not been in the court system yet, some of you have, and I am sending out, I did receive an email, and I cannot recall her name, but this was the young lady that went to court, and I say young lady, but lady that went to court and brought justice against brought justice for the fact that the father had sexually, or I'm not sure if the father, forgive me, but the ex-husband had sexually molested the children, and they gave him, I think, life to, or 40 years to life in prison with parole, and 30 to 40 years. And so I commend you, Queen, for standing up, setting your boundaries, and not being afraid that this has expired. I will email you and commend you. Thank you, Queen, for going out there and you finding justice. And so just be prepared, though, that when you go and, the court system is the stage for the greatest Grammy and Emmy award-winning performances by the narcissist. These are the actors of a lifetime looking for the award to walk and kiss and wave to the crowds as they walk. So be prepared, because they look at the court system as going to war with you. And so in situations such as divorces, narcissists do not look at, I don't know what states you live in. I know in the state of Washington, it is a community property state, so everything is split 50-50. You can negotiate prior to and kind of split, but it is a community property state. Also, it's a no-fault state, meaning that it doesn't matter whether there has been infidelity, it is a no-fault state. You don't have to find fault to seek divorce. Now, they do have the domestic violence and those agencies that assist those getting out of divorces that are violent or have experienced domestic violence. So you do have domestic violence counselors and advocates that assist those coming out of domestic violent relationships. And so those are taken into consideration. But when you go into the courts, remember that the narcissist does not see, for example, child support. The narcissist do not see child support as supporting a child. The narcissist sees child support as you taking something away from them, him or her. They do not look at, for example, with alimony payments here in the state of Washington, it's called spousal support or spousal maintenance. And for those spouses that have spent majority of their life within in the marriage, supporting the narcissist, or building their career, and so they put their career, their education to the side in order to help build or to help support the narcissist spouse, male or female, And so they do, I think, have the right to request spousal maintenance, whether it's a year or whatever the judge deems necessary, in order for that spouse to get back on their feet, get an education, so that they can go seek employment in order to sustain or to support themselves. However, the narcissist doesn't see it that way. The narcissist sees it as, you're trying to take something away from me. And so when you go into the courts, remember that that is the greatest smear campaign. You have to, when you go into the court systems with the narcissist, just like the military has taught us, bottom line up front, take the emotions out of what you're saying, stick to the facts. Their whole thing is to make sure they can get a reaction from you. If they can get a reaction from you, it makes it look more favorable on their behalf. When you go into the court, even if you have to be in the courtroom with them, as some of the coaches suggest, make sure that you're sitting in between like your lawyer, so that you don't have to look directly at the narcissist, because they use that intimidation in court. Be prepared that a lot of them, will smear you in court, will call you a bad parent. Now, keep in mind that a lot of times they will self-project what they're doing. They'll project it on you. They'll falsify documents. They would withhold information so that you don't see their true income. They will doct, or they will falsify like income tax returns. They will not provide, all the proof of their income or their assets or their properties. They'll hide that. And sometimes it may require that your lawyer hires a private detective to go find, and they do that. They hire private detectives to find what other assets and properties or monies may be hidden. But they will lie. They will falsify documents. They will not be truthful. They will find reasons to either slow the court process down, or a lot of them will try to interpret the law themselves. They are very adamant in interpreting the law to the judge, or interpreting the law to the lawyer, or to you. If there is a court ruling, say for example, child support payments, and they decide that, because remember, one thing they hate to do is see you happy and see you progressing and see you making something of yourself. That's the worst thing for a narcissist, to see that you are happy away from them and that you are recovering and progressing, you're smiling and you're truly happy, and you have nothing to do with this individual whatsoever. They hate that. But in their little, I want to say little pigeon brain, but they have big brains, but in their thought process, their thought process is, the only reason why you're so happy is because you're taking my money from me. If I take the money away from you, you will not be so successful. How arrogant, because you can survive without the narcissist. However, and their mindset is that now they'll try to file all sorts of court motions and delay and this. And really what they try to do is they try to attack you financially. So they'll use the court system to continue to harass you and to abuse you. And for some people, if they do not have the money to continue hiring a lawyer or going to court to defend themselves over these false accusations, because they can put as many accusations, they can put as many, and continuously call you to court, and you have been depleted of finances. They do that on purpose. And a lot of times it's for you to say, forget it, just let him, or I give up, or in situations in which they don't want you to have the money. Now, this money is to support your child, or, whatever, alimony checks, whatever, because you help build a part of the business, or you help, so you are entitled to a portion of the business or the empire that they have built, which is, I think is, keep it fair. When you go into court, ladies and gentlemen, don't go in there because you're angry and because you're hurt, going into the court and asking for things that that you're just trying to hurt the person. Go in with a reasonable mind. Do not go off of emotions, and be fair. I fairly asked for 50% of this and that, and you stick to it. Now, the narcissist is going to look at it as you're getting over on them. You're getting one over. So they're going to come in and they're going to smear you. She did this. He did this. You did this. You abused the kids, and they will project a lot of stuff that they're doing. They'll project it on you. She's falsifying documents. I don't know where that comes from. He's falsifying documents. Those are not the correct tax returns. That is, and the thing about it is that they play the game so much that in the background, a lot of times they're doing other stuff with their finances, but you're messing up their game. You're messing up their image. You're messing up something that they're trying to do behind your back. When it comes to the money. So they're trying to get this done so that you can't get a hold of any of their money. But The problem with that is a lot of them will make mistakes. A lot of them get caught up in falsifying documents, lying and perjury. A lot of them get caught up with hiding assets and having asset found out. A lot of them get caught up in, the finances that they're hiding, where the child support or the alimony support, doesn't go up, or hiding the ass. A lot of them will get themselves in trouble. A lot of them, after court rulings, are even arrogant enough to go back into court and start they have a lawyer representing their own self, telling the lawyer what they're going to say. And this law says this, and this says, they're not lawyers. Unless they are a lawyer, they're not lawyers. So the law doesn't apply to them. The law just applies to you. And if you're getting over on them, they will interpret the law, or they will intimidate you or harass you in court. Some of them may not be the low to mid grade, where they will just go into court and just scream and yell and have to make sure that they're heard. Some of them are a little more calm, but they will still make mistakes. As long as you keep your cool and not argue back, stick to the facts when you file paperwork. And then another thing they'll do is they'll fight. I don't know how each court system works. They'll send something, accuse you of something, and they want you to say something back. They send something, accuse you of something, then they want you to say something back. So now what they're doing is they're literally using the legal system, or they're using the lawyers to attack you through the lawyers, to make it look as if they're not saying anything. So they'll attack you through your lawyers or their lawyers. And what happens is, if you don't catch yourself, you'll argue back and forth with them, trying to prove yourself. Whatever you say, stick to what you say, and don't argue back and forth, unless the lawyer wants you to answer, but other than that, stick to what you're asking for, stick to the facts, take your emotions out of the situation. And so I went to one of the sites, with this one is Site Central. This article was written by Christine Hammond. She's a licensed mental health counselor. And let's look. She put down, here's some 8 ways that narcissists use the legal system to bully the opponent. So, they will still use the court system to try to impose power and control or intimidate you. They just want to bully you. So one of them is the frivolous lawsuits. Filing senseless lawsuits that have little merit for point of forcing the opposing party. Remember, we were talking about that they'll abuse the legal system. They'll file motions, they'll file lawsuits just because they want to deplete your money. So if you get alimony check or you get child support, they'll try to, okay, you got the money, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to deplete you by keep sending you back and forth to court. Just nonsense. False accusations. A lot of times, and not all narcissists are pedophiles. And then there are narcissists that are pedophiles. A lot of them, the thing is that they know what they're doing. The things that they accuse you of, and that's not true, a lot of times is the way that they're thinking, or some of the things that they're doing. Not saying that if they accuse you of abusing a child, that's something that they're doing, because not all of them abuse the children physically or sexually, but some of them do. And so if you listen to the accusations, you'll know what they're doing. You know what they're doing behind. The problem is having to prove it, because some people just don't have the time and the money and the energy to keep going into court to have to prove themselves, wrong, or, to have to prove themselves in the court system. They know what they're doing when they're doing it. Let's see. They falsely project their issues onto the opponent. The false accusations forces the opponent to be on the defensive and causes the court system to frown when the opponent makes a similar charge against a narcissist. So you know that the narcissist is doing it, so you're telling the judge, or you're telling the legal system that that's what they're doing. So they already are using the court system to smear campaign you. Entrapment. They'll incite and encourage their victims to act irrationally, even then call the police on them. While technically this is not an entrapment because it is a law enforcement officer doing the act, the victim will nonetheless feel trapped. The event is then later used as a threat in another lawsuit or civil action. So be careful how you act, because they will purposely do things to get the police called on you, and then they'll use that against you in court. Even when once a narcissist is out of your life, don't trust them with anything. Whether they text you, they call you, and everything is manipulation. Everything is thought out of. Even when they're texting and asking questions and you're just answering without thinking about what you're saying. When you're dealing with a narcissist, you always have to be on guard. There's never a time that you can put your guard down with a narcissist. Even if you guys have made amends and they live their life, you live theirs. It's never like that. Never trust a narcissist. Ever, ever. When it comes to the narcissist, always put your guards up. Always. even in simple conversations, put your guards up and be careful of what you say. They take that information and use it against you. Gaming the system. This is using the laws designed to protect a person as a point of manipulation against them. For instance, not allowing a child to see or speak to another parent on their time, because that would give the other parent more time with them. So they'll do things not allow you, like if you have visitations, they won't allow you to talk to them while they're in their presence. Or another thing that they do, depending on what's happening in the privacy of that home that they're in, especially when they're with new supply, and the new supply may also be abusing the child, because they're sometimes what happens is the new supply is attacking the child because of you, male or female, especially if you got a child that looks just like you and there's a new supply in the picture. So what happens is a lot of times the new supply will also abuse the child to to side with the narcissist to get brownie points from the narcissist. So while the narcissist is like hurling insults or whatever, the new supply will also gang up on the child and then make the child feel abused or misused or humiliated. But what happens is they'll do things like won't allow the child to call you, or threaten the child or intimidate the child so they can't call you to talk to you. Or what they'll do is they'll monitor the calls, meaning they'll stand right there, won't give the child any privacy so they can talk to you. They monitor what they're saying to you so that you don't know, or they won't get caught, in other words. So you guys be careful, pay attention to that, okay? Another thing is senseless motions and hearings in order to delay process. And so they're doing all sorts of other things. So they're delaying the process knowing that they may be increasing alimony and increasing child support payments. And so they'll, just stupid stuff, filing these motions. And what they do is they do the same thing they do with the average person, manipulating, diverting, projecting, deflecting. They'll do it in the court process too. When, for example, if they're in contempt of court, then they'll try to refocus their attention to something that you've done to get your mind, or get the court, or to get them to stop focusing on this. They'll point out something that you've done, or that we need to investigate this to get the courts off track. Hopefully you guys get good judges and good lawyers. Let's see. Committing perjury, we talked about that. They don't have a problem lying in court, especially if they think that you're going to get over it. They don't have a problem. Remember the saying, I think this is right, cutting the nose off despite the face? They don't have a problem with committing perjury, all because it's you. And so it's like the Terminator. That Terminator was coming after him. Even after the Terminator was crushed, that hand was still moving, trying to get. So they don't care. If they feel slighted, or if they feel like you're going to get over them, then even in the court, or you may get more money, or you may get more property, or whatever, they will do anything. Even the fact that if you let them play it out, they can get themselves in trouble with perjury, or even get jail time. You have to let them play out, and you have to maintain your cool. You can't react. Remember, there's response and there's reaction. You have to think before you speak. And I know that they get on your nerves. I know that you get in the court and you're humiliated, and the things that they say, you have to be wise. Think before you react. Think before something comes out of your mouth. Think before you email. Think before you react in the court system. Think first. Think it out and then respond. Don't react because they're doing this for the purpose of reaction. They may act a fool. The country girls say act a fool, but they're wanting to trigger you so that you will act out of character, and then they'll point their finger at you without letting people know that they're the ones that poke the bear. Let's see what else. Let's see here. Using loopholes. Narcissists love to find loopholes in the law and use it in their favor. However, if their opponent were to use a loophole against them, the attacks would be ruthless. For a narcissist, this is a one-way street where only they can dodge the issues. We were kind of talking about that. And so you find loopholes, or you find, but they'll use it against you, and then they'll smear campaign you. They'll do whatever they possibly can to make your life a living hell in the courtroom. Even your life, it's almost like, I just want to get this over with. I don't care. You can have whatever. That's their whole thought, is if I can wear you out in the court, you'll give me what I want and you'll stop. But even loopholes work for them. Loopholes don't work for you. And like I said, a lot of them will go in and start interpreting the law. filing motions. And one narcissist actually thought he was having court, and the spouse was like, it's like he was the lawyer and he was the judge and he was the jury all at one time. He's literally having court, and there is no court going on. There's just paperwork that's being filed. And so they interpret the law how they want to interpret the law. You don't have the right, and the lawyers don't know what they're talking about, nor does the judge. And so they can put that's why a lot of them, there's contempt of court. Contempt of court, because they don't abide by the rules or the ruling of the court proceeding. You just have to be wise, take it back, take your emotions out of it. If you're too emotional, don't react. Take it to the lawyer, stay with your lawyer, react with the lawyer. The lawyer is going to teach you, hey, you need to stay calm. If they don't, I'm telling you, stay calm, stick to the facts, take your emotions out, be cool. That's the hardest thing that you can do in court when you have to face. Get a support system to go with you. Get someone to go into court with you to support you that you know is there, a support system, And in other cases, more extreme cases, jury tampering, bribing or intimidating members of the jury to make a decision in a certain way. While this is usually the stuff movies are made of, it still happens in the courtroom. Narcissists frequently believe that they are above the law. Most of them do. Well, all of them do. Above the law and will not get caught. You remember the Ted Bundy case? He just made a show because he was getting the attention. And he was on national television, so he was getting attention. He was talking to the jury. I mean, he was just... And then the judge actually said, young man, you would make an excellent attorney. I was like, Judge, this guy is manipulating the court system. He's using the terminology he may have studied, but it's all for show. Judge, you don't want him as one of your lawyers. You don't want one of the people in the courtroom. And so hopefully this has helped you guys. Hopefully, those of you that may be headed into the court system, you've got to mentally prepare yourself for what is to come. Narcissists will use the court systems to abuse you, to continue to try to exert control over you, to make you miserable, because and for some of you going into court, it looks like open and closed case. Very simple. They'll make it very complicated because they know that you're probably going to win, or they know that you're probably, don't give up. If you don't have finances, I get it, but hopefully, I don't even know what to say in that situation, because there are some people that just don't have the money to defend themselves. And so really they just re-victimize you all over again. For those of you that do have, good lawyers, stick to it. Get your emotions out of it. Stick to the facts. Do not react. Respond, but think before you respond. Calm down. Bring a support system into the court with you, okay? Bring someone that is sitting next to you to keep you calm, that is aware of the situation. When they're aware of the situation, they can tap you, hey, just calm down, because a lot of times you have a voice of reason that's like, that this person is trying to agitate you, this person is trying to, and you can hear them like smearing your name to the judge. Stay cool. Judges have had other cases like this before. Be cool. Stay calm. Don't react. Respond. Talk to your lawyer before you say anything, and don't lose your cool. Don't look over there. Focus on your lawyer. Talk to the judge. Don't talk to the narcissist. Talk to the judge. You'll find them staring at you. They'll do things like stare at you because they use intimidation. So you have to be prepared for the courtroom antics. And some of you guys actually have the experiences. Some of you have had the experiences, so share your experiences. So those of you that are going into the court system with these narcissists, you'll have some information and you'll learn from some of the mistakes that other people have made. So hopefully this has helped you tonight. I said I was going to stay on short, but once again, I did like 23 minutes. So hopefully this helped you guys out, though. Hopefully this is giving you guys some information, like, aha, that's what they were doing. But if you have not already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Carmen Bryant. Hit the bell so you know whenever I upload, and when I come on live, please join me on Sunday between 8 and 9 Pacific Standard Time, which is West Coast time. So I'll be open. Usually I do that, open for question and answers. You can ask me whatever question you want to ask me. And then I also have a Facebook page, Psychological Health Consultants and Services. I post on both pages. But a lot of times if I come on live, I'll be coming on live on the YouTube channel if I'm traveling. So once again, thank you guys so much for the support, the emails. Thank you for the comments. I really appreciate you guys. Kings, thank you guys for coming out and speaking up and letting us know this epidemic is not just female-based. It's also males. Males go through the same thing that females do. It's just underreported. Thank you guys for sharing and not being afraid to speak up and say anything. I see you guys on Sunday. I'm waiting to talk to you guys. I'm looking forward. I'm excited about it. You guys have an awesome weekend. Get some rest. Love yourself. Do something nice for yourself, okay? Buy some Starbucks if you're in a Starbucks place. Get you some coffee. Got me some coffee. You know, be nice to yourself. Get your hair done. Get your feet done. You know, get your nails done. Do something. Get your eyelashes. Do something. Do something nice for yourself. Appreciate yourself. Love yourself and stop being so hard on yourself. And as my friend always says, go and be great.